Who says you need sunshine for a spring football game? That's not the case in Lexington for much of the day. It's been snowing. This is 90 minutes ago in the Commonwealth. Snow all over the field. Equipment moved, players leaving for the locker room. And then all of a sudden, Mother Nature said, you know what? Let's go ahead and spruce things up. Clouds broke up a little bit, snow melted, and we're ready for some football. It's the annual Kentucky Spring Game here at Kroger Field in Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome, everybody. He is the former Ole Miss All-American Deuce McAllister. I am Mike Morgan. Great to be with you. Extended spring game coverage throughout the next couple of weeks here on the SEC Network. And Deuce, when we talk about this Kentucky program, this is no longer just a basketball school. Kentucky's coming off another 10-win season. They're second in 4 years. Sole possession of second place in the Eastern Division. 6 straight bowl games, 4 straight bowl victories for Mark Stoops and company. They have made their mark here in a short amount of time.
Well, Coach Stoops has definitely made his mark, and you can see him putting his stamp on this team and how they want to come out and play and how they do things. And so when you talk about Kentucky, now it's not just like you talked about basketball. It's football included. And I think that we are going to see another show from this team this upcoming year.
Even when Kentucky was having success a few years ago under Mark Stoops, we were talking about the running game, we were talking about the defense. We weren't talking too much about quarterback. That has changed after last season. Will Levis has already become one of the better signal callers in this league. They have high hopes for him in his senior year.
Well, and I definitely think when you talk about this Kentucky team, you talk about the franchise overall, it starts with Will Levis. His leadership, him being a captain, that's what he will be. Him going out and leading this team. And when you look at it this year, he will have more of the pressure because they don't have some of the weapons that they've had in the past. It'll be more on Will Levis, and I'm interested to see how he continues to grow as far as not only a leader but a player as well.
Well, for more on the former Penn State Nittany Lion, we have thawed her out. Lauren Sisler is ready to go and give us more on the signal caller for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah, and Deuce, you said it right there. It's the maturity and experience that he comes with from a season ago that's really going to help Levis. And it's so apparent after talking to him yesterday that he really sets the tone for this football season. And now you add to the fold new offensive coordinator Rich Scangarello, and the two of them have really hit it off well. They've started to build some chemistry, and really the goal for Will Levis at this point is not to be coached, it's to become an extension of this coaching staff. And really he's doing just that, is he's willingness to learn and to tweak the things within his framework.
Lauren, great stuff. We'll hear from you throughout today. Stay warm down there. It's a little bit warmer up here in the booth, Deuce. But when you talk about this Kentucky offense, it's hard not to talk about what you alluded to earlier, and that is they did lose some key weapons, including Wan'Dale Robinson, who set a school record last year with over 100 receptions. In fact, in total, this offense lost 156 receptions. They've only got 16 returning receptions back. However, they've got 2 newcomers at that position that they're very high on.
Yeah, they're definitely high on. One of them we see in there, freshman Dane Key, and then you talk about Robinson, the transfer from Virginia Tech. But when you look at those numbers, that tells you there's opportunity. And so if you're willing to put in the time, not only in the classroom, but out on the practice field and go out and get some type of chemistry with Will Levis, then the opportunity is there for you, and that's what they're expecting, big things from Dane Key.
Great programs have great identities. The identity of this Kentucky team for the last few years has been their offensive line. The big blue wall, it's been dominating. They've had a number of guys leave for the NFL, including 3 off of last year's team expected to be drafted. So you lose 3 starters, but the way they continue to recruit, Deuce, they feel like they still will have a dominating line.
Well, and I agree with you. Even though that you do lose 3 starters to the NFL, you do have some guys that have some starting experience coming back, and that'll be key. When you also look at that offensive line, transfers will play a factor in it, and Manning is one of those young men that will have an opportunity to step up. But there's some young blood as well, and one of those being Godwin, who is a 5-star freshman. The question becomes, will he develop quick enough to be able to step in and take on a starting role in that offensive line?
6 consecutive 2,000-yard rushing seasons for the Kentucky offense. When we come back, we'll talk about the Kentucky defense and one of the better stories in college football in J.J. Weaver.
The spring and There are plenty of storylines in this one, and we talked about the offensive side of the football, but now I want to go to the defensive side of the football and highlight one guy, outside linebacker J.J. Weaver, and he's expected to make a big impact this year. 2 years of coming off ACL injury, rehabbing that, getting back on the field. The impact is going to be special for him, but it's also very apparent as you get to know J.J. Weaver, his impact off the field is just as special.
Under pressure and sacked, J.J. Weaver. And let me tell you something, J.J. Weaver is a special kid for Kentucky. And he's got 6 fingers on his right hand.
You can't help but notice J.J. Weaver now.
Picked up by J.J. Weaver.
But for most of his life, he's tried to hide what makes him unique. The Kentucky linebacker has polydactyly, a condition in which a person is born with extra fingers or toes. It appears in approximately 1 in every 1,000 births.
Always hiding my finger, never tell nobody, because, I always picked on, bully, because being different about my extra finger, and they used to call me an alien.
Only recently did the 21-year-old sophomore talk publicly about his extra finger. Many Kentucky fans first learned about it during an in-game report this season.
J.J. Weaver is embracing the 6 fingers, and believe it or not, they are fully functional on that right hand, and actually helps him to grip the ball and catch the ball better.
I'm a big UK fan, and so I was just watching the game, and my ears perked up.
Kay Cambron, a 3rd grade teacher in Lexington, heard the report and decided to reach out to the Kentucky football program. Because not only was she born with extra fingers, 2 of her students were as well. A few weeks later, Miss Cambron's class got a visit from a special guest.
How y'all doing?
Hi, how are you?
I have an extra finger, so what made me different, what made me come out here and speak to you guys, just to inspire you guys to be different, follow your dreams.
Has anybody made fun of you for your extra fingers?
Man, every day they still do, but it is me. It is. That's why I came to talk to you guys, because it's okay to be different.
It doesn't matter if you look different or not. It made me feel happy and excited because I never met a football player with an extra finger before.
Sharmon?
You can have it on, bud.
No, I have 5 fingers on this hand, then 6 fingers on this hand.
You want to show him yours?
11. Oh, see, look. Twins.
Having somebody like JJ come to the class and show his extra finger, what does that show you?
It shows me that there's people in this world that's similar to me. Everybody should feel special about themselves.
I'm not the only one that have this story. So me just opening up, finally telling my stories and having positive feedback on my finger is a blessing. Trying to give the young kids hope.
Such an outstanding story as told there by Jen Latta last fall on College Game Day. And guys, J.J. Weaver has been through a lot these last couple of years, losing his father, Terrence Weaver, his high school football coach, Rob Reeder, and having to rehab through that ACL tear in 2020. But he is embracing those obstacles. His strength and perseverance have really been a catalyst for his growth as a young man, and now as a vocal leader on this football team. And guys, there is no doubt the strength lies there within that linebacking core, and it runs through him.
Lauren, great stuff, and you're absolutely right. J.J. Weaver, one of the leaders of that linebacking core. In fact, he led the team in sacks a year ago. 6 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. He's putting weight back on. We'll talk more about that later on, trying to get back up to about 250 pounds, eating 5 meals a day. We volunteer for that, Deuce. You don't have to worry about us trying to get 5 meals a day. But this linebacking core, DeAndre Square, Jaquez Jones, J.J. Weaver, this is going to be one of the best in the SEC.
Well, they have to be the strength of that defense. I mean, when you look at some of the losses that they had up front, those linebackers, they're the veterans. And so you talk about from a communication standpoint, from a group that has to be able to go out there and make plays, that's where it's going to fall on it when you look at this Kentucky defense.
Jaquez Jones, DeAndre Square, and J.J. Weaver. Remember the names. Josh Paschal is gone, but that triumvirate is back. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back talk about one of the key groups and running backs in the SEC when we return from Lexington. Well, like a lot of teams across the country, the Kentucky Wildcats will have some changes this year in the coaching staff, particularly on the offensive side. On the offensive side, we know what they lost with Liam Cohen, who goes back to the NFL with the Rams. But that went so well that Mark Stoops decided to go back to the NFL. Well, Rich Scangarello enters Lexington, another guy with NFL pedigree, 7 years in the NFL, the last few with the San Francisco 49ers. Zach Yenzer, the new offensive line coach who has ties to the state of Kentucky. You see the resume on Scangarello, successful wherever he has been. He is a guy that loves working with quarterbacks. And when we asked him, one of the things that attracted him to this job, it was the fact that he got a chance to work with Will Levis. And he will get a chance to do that and try to make some magic the way they did last year. And standing by with Coach Scangarello is Lauren Sisler.
All right, Coach, good to see you here. It's good to be in Lexington. I'm sure you weren't expecting snow on the ground this morning, but here we are. We got a green field. As you make this transition, what's been special to you about this transition from the NFL now back to college?
Yeah, you know, it's just it's a real good environment here at Kentucky. Just Coach Stoops, what he's built, the type of people that are here, the type of players, coaches we have. Just excited to be in it, and whoa, that was close. Just excited to be a part of it, and yeah, I think things have gone well so far.
We're down here in the mix, guys. Okay, so you have a quarterback in Will Levis that comes back with some experience. What is special about him, his skill set, and his ability to lead this offense?
You know, he has real special arm talent. He's smart, he's tough, he's competitive. He has all those types of qualities that, you know, make for great quarterback play, and just trying to help him let that, you know, take us to where we need to go, and I think he can do that for us.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. Good luck out here today. Good luck with the rest of spring, and we're going to send it to break. We'll be back here at Kroger Field here in just a few moments.
Thank you.
Well, you think about the success of Kentucky football the last few years. You think about the ground game, 6 consecutive years of 2,000 or more yards rushing, and Chris Rodriguez has been front and center for much of that. He's got a chance to become the all-time Kentucky rushing leader, surpassing one Benny Snell, who also played for Mark Stoops. Chris Rodriguez comes in off a season where he averaged over 6 yards per carry, 1,238 yards. Deuce McAllister, a position you know a thing or two about running backs. What impresses you the most about Rodriguez?
Well, I think when you look at him, he's a 3-down back. And what I mean by that, he has the ability to be able to catch the football. Obviously, running the football, he has that ability. And, you know, I'm kind of surprised that he did come back, particularly when you talk about rushing for over 1,200 yards. But you just talked about some of the things that he wants to accomplish from a personal level, and I think the opportunity to graduate as well and to be able to enjoy that senior season was one of the reasons that he did come back.
You've got Rodriguez back, you've got Cavassier Smoke, although the coaching staff was quick to point out we got guys ahead of Smoke right now. They're very high on Jatan McClain, particularly his receiving ability out of the backfield. A guy we won't see today, but they're also high on is Lavelle Wright. So they've got some depth.
Well, some depth, and when you have that depth, now I can work some of those other guys in, and you talk about being able to finish a game with Rodriguez being fresh. That's what you have the ability to be able to do, and so to be able to give different looks to teams, play 2 tailbacks at time, they can do some of those things with the different weapons that they do have.
Kentucky averaged just under 200 yards a game a year ago. When we come back, we're ready to get this thing started. Let's play some ball in Lexington. By Rodriguez behind the right side of that offensive line, a pickup of 8. No score will be kept. It's going to be the offense versus defense, 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2. They hope to get about 75 reps in total for this game. Levis, the quarterback, in blue. Going to flip it near side. That's Rodriguez. Rodriguez breaking a tackle at midfield and shoved out of bounds in plus territory. That is something we expect to see more of, Deuce, more receptions by the backs.
Well, I definitely think, I mean, it's easy for the quarterback to be able to just find his spot, to be able to find the check down. The thing that you like is Will Levis's movement in the pocket there. There was a little pressure by J.J. Weaver from that defensive end spot, and he was able just to move to be able to find the back for the check down.
13 yards on the reception. Running clock in this game, so it should move rather quickly. From the 44 of the white, it's Levis. On play action, all kinds of time. from the pocket, delivers a strike complete at the 28-yard line. That is DeMarcus Harris. We mentioned him earlier. He's got the most returning receptions on the team with 12.
Mike, anytime that you can run the football like they do, then play action becomes a factor. And the only thing that I want Harris to be able to do is to snap out of that deep out a little quicker. You saw that took some time to be able to develop. And, I don't know if Will be able to hold the football as long as he did, if it's not in a controlled scrimmage atmosphere.
This game will really serve as a showcase for the wide receivers to try to jockey for position. They're really high on Key and Robinson, the transfer from Virginia Tech. Levis over the middle, missiles one complete to the 25. That's the tight end, Brendan Bates, and they do like their quartet of tight ends. That'll go for 4 yards. The senior out of Cincinnati, as you see the passing improvement. If there's one knock on Kentucky's offense before last year, maybe a little bit more conservative. They opened it up last year, and they certainly had the weapons to do it, and it spelled greater success, more balance for Kentucky.
Oh, definitely balance, and I love the decision there by Will. It was a drop 8 defense, only 3 linemen rushing. He found his check down, which was a tight end, and, you keep the chains moving.
McClain, the back, in a staggered eye look on second down. He gets the pitch, penalty flag on the field, probes the right side, runs through an alley past the 15, but we'll see if this will hold up. Jaquez Jones was on the tackle, and it will be offside, so the run will hold up, and it will be a first down, and that'll give us a chance to brag a little on Jaton McClain, the junior out of Fairfield, Ohio, who they believe is ready to have a breakout year.
Well, you see that they get him outside. When you talk about just having the speed, the ability to be able to make people miss, that's kind of what you see, just getting him in space. And I agree with you. They are high on him, and they feel like that he can contribute, and I expect them to be able to get him in space to be able to make plays.
Probably see a lot more touches for number 17 in blue today. Kind of know what Chris Rodriguez is all about. Want to see what some of the other guys can do. Rodriguez on the field on this play. Levis already 3 for 3 for 33 yards. First down and 10 out of the shotgun. 3 wide look for the blue team. Rodriguez grinding it up the middle, keeps the legs churning, and earns 3 tough yards to the 11-yard line. Josiah Hayes on the tackle for Kentucky.
And that's one of those defensive linemen that has to be able to step up. We talked a little bit in the pregame show about them losing a lot of guys in that defensive front, and if Josiah Hayes can step up for them to be able to give them another contributor on that defensive line.
Octavius Oxendine will not play today. They expect big things on the defensive line for the junior. Now second down and 7 for the blue team. Split twin look. Levis out of the shotgun. 3-man rush. Levis from the pocket. All kinds of time. Now going to scramble. Out to the 10. Foot race over to the 5. The corner. Dives for the pylon. Did he get there?
I think they're going to call him down right there at the 8-yard line. They're going to say he was touched. He probably would have gotten there if it's not the quarterback in the spring. Just a great job. You see him only rushing 3, and he doesn't like to check down options. And with the field being compressed, he does the right thing, not force anything, and runs with the football. And I'm going to say he was probably tagged down right there at the 8-yard line.
So it's like we used to play in the schoolyard. Well, I don't know about you, Deuce. You might have played tackle and gravel, right?
Nah, it was touch, but you were going to argue that you wouldn't have gotten me down there.
That's right. That's right. Third down and 4. Levis out of the gun. White defense showing blitz. Here it comes, and dumped off, caught by Rodriguez, and Rodriguez will scamper for a touchdown. So an impressive opening drive for Will Levis, Chris Rodriguez, and the blue team. 8-yard touchdown.
Well, I love the call here. You talked about the pressure coming off of the edge, and they had the perfect call, which was a screen. And it's just like a little slip screen to the running back out of the backfield. You just want to slow those guys down a little bit. And for the back, his job is not to get hit. His job is not to get picked off, and make sure he has a clean line to the quarterback so he can see him to be able to make that catch and then obviously get in the end zone.
Rodriguez did have 3 touchdown receptions a year ago. Picks up 1 on the opening drive. Ruffalo for the extra point. Matt Ruffalo, 81% field goals and a school record 54 PATs a year ago. Impressive opening drive for Levis and the blue. Levis 4 for 4. Blue on top, 7-0. Lewis, the senior out of Madison, Connecticut. Of course, came from Penn State. Didn't get a chance to throw much for the Nittany Lions. Last year, he became the first Kentucky quarterback with 15 passing touchdowns and 5 rushing touchdowns since Jared Lorenzen did it back in 2003. Big battle going on for the number 2 quarterback. We look at Bo Allen here, hometown product out of Lexington Catholic. The junior rips one and incomplete at the 38-yard line. Tried to hit the tight end, Jordan Dingle.
And that's one that Jordan Dingle has to be able to catch. He kind of tries to turn upfield before securing that football. I like the progression you can see just right there with Bo Allen. His progression being able to go to 1 to 2 and then the backside to the tight end. But he's just got to, Dingle has to secure that football before he turns up the field.
Allen put up ridiculous numbers in high school. His father, Bill Allen, was a quarterback for the Wildcats back in the mid to late 80s. On second down, between the tackles, good hard running straight ahead that time. That is Mike Brennan, who doubles up as a wide receiver as well. Mike Brennan, the junior out of Dublin, Ohio. Jordan Lovett on the stop.
A nice job of your fullback being able to block the backside of that, and you get a lot of push inside from that offensive line to put them in a favorable position in 3rd and short here.
8-yard pickup sets up the 3rd down and 2. Allen, Sharon, and Hogan all battling for that number 2 spot. We expect to see all 3 of those guys in extensive action today. 5 in the pattern this time, and it's in and out of the hands of the intended target. That is Rashawn Lewis, the son of the former Hall of Fame linebacker Ray Lewis.
And that's one where Rashawn, he has to come up with that football. I mean, that's a nice football, nice throw by Bo Allen, and it's in his hands. And I think he felt the pressure from the defensive back there, and he just didn't secure the football. So 2 passes here for Bo Allen that his guys had their hands on him. They just don't make the play.
Regular season game, this might be a head-scratching decision. Hey, it's a spring game. Just go for it. 4th and 2 from your 38. Why not? Out of the shotgun. 2 to the left, 1 to the right for Allen. Allen retreating, now stepping up, going to tuck it and dive for the marker at the 40, and he might have it.
I think he does have it. Showed pretty good pocket presence there by Allen. You can see that defensive line of Kentucky being able to bring some pressure, not only with 4 guys, but I think the linebacker inserted as well. So a pretty good job of being able to work around in that pocket and pick up the yardage that you needed for that 1st down.
Allen was the Kentucky Player of the Year as a high school senior. Threw for over 11,000 yards, 127 passing touchdowns. From the 40 on 1st down. 4-man rush. Going to be a handoff to the right side. Will be Drennan on the carry, brought down by Jamarius Dinkins, number 95, a sophomore out of Columbus, Ohio.
A couple times we've seen from an offense, you kind of wonder what their identity will be. We've seen them under center with the fullback as well as out of shotgun, and they've run. We've seen toss sweep from them. We've seen outside zone from them. Not only this drive, but the previous drive. So you get a little bit of, I want to say everything from this unit, but a little bit of everything when you talk about offensively what that philosophy will be.
Cavassier Smoke checks in at tailback, and they'll feed the veteran out of the state of Alabama. The senior will tiptoe his way ahead for a couple. Deuce, you played in a couple of these spring games back at your time at Ole Miss. Obviously, it's much different than a regular game, but a good chance for these players to get another tune-up.
Well, definitely a good chance to get another tune-up, and right there you saw gap scheme with them pulling the guard, and so you see the versatility, but also from a player standpoint, it's the culmination of the spring for you, the hard work that you've been able to put in. Now you get an opportunity to be able to go and show it as you go into summer workouts.
3rd down and 7 for the Blue. Allen. Nobody open. Allen trying to make something out of nothing. Scampers ahead to about the 47-yard line. That'll be shy. Sam Anelli on the pressure, number 91. They believe he's going to be a good one. A sophomore out of Nigeria.
And I think that would have been a sack right there in a regular game. He does a nice job on the twist, on the stun, and he did be able to get at least a hand on the quarterback. And so we saw the offense be able to convert a 4th and short, but that time they're not able to, and just a nice job of running a twist stunt by that defensive line.
Not a whole lot of fun to play defense in these games, right? You can't deliver the hit like you want.
Well, you can't. You got to be a good teammate in that situation. You got to be a good teammate, because this is not the opponent for you in a typical manner. That opponent on the other side is your teammate. So you don't want to hurt a guy that you need later on in this fall.
Now, next Saturday, April the 16th, we've got a half a dozen more SEC spring football games headlined by the defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs. That'll be on ESPN2 at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Lawrence Sisler, Deuce McAllister, I'm Mike Morgan. We've got the Kentucky Blue-White game here today. Not actually keeping score. It's more about which players can progress. We've got some interesting positional battles on both sides of the football. We've got a new offensive coordinator for Kentucky, their second in as many seasons, and of course we've got Will Levis back under center for the Wildcats, and that has a lot of people high on this Kentucky team again in 2022. McClain, the deep back, on first down. He'll get it, probe the right side, and finds a crease out to the 39-yard line as we say hello to Lauren.
Yeah, guys, yesterday in talking to Will Levis, we obviously saw a lot of confidence coming from him as he enters into his second season here at Kentucky as the starting quarterback, but he always has room for improvement. He says he really wants to improve on the turnovers, the decision-making, the footwork, and the technique, and that's where Rich Scangarello comes in and has really already helped him to make those significant improvements in those areas. As a quarterback who already showed a tremendous amount of progression last season, Scangarello elevates him to that next level, and it can be seen with the relationship and the chemistry that they've built even in this short month they've been together.
Yeah, they just seem to both be in sync with one another. It's at the point now where it's not so much coaching, it's collaborating, and one of the things that Scangarello talks about when he kind of gushes about Will Levis, he says he's a very good processor, and if you're calling plays and you're trying to get a young quarterback to learn a whole new playbook, you need to be able to process.
Well, and I think from an offensive coordinator, you want to find out what he does well. Even going back to that last play, you saw that throw was low, and some of that is footwork. Some of that, I know that's one of the things that he has been working on, but you have to be in sync with what the route calls for, and my footwork has to be good as well.
Let's see how the footwork here is on 3rd and 6. Throw is right on target. Out in the flat, it's Robinson, and Robinson weaving his way down to the 37-yard line. Great run after catch by Tavion Robinson, and that gives us a chance to brag on the transfer from Virginia Tech, who had 113 grabs and 9 scores with the Hokies.
Yeah, and then you can see this is just one-on-one, and this is just giving my playmaker an opportunity to make a play. And you see once he gets into the open field, he can make guys miss, and that's a throw that you have to be able to make. And Robinson obviously makes the catch, and he picks up a first down for this Kentucky offense.
24-yard connection for Robinson. Scangarello told us you will see a lot of Robinson in this spring game. They want to see what he can do. He, along with Dane Key, could be the top 2 receiving targets this year for Kentucky. You lose over 100 grabs from Wan'Dale Robinson, who set the school record a year ago. He's off to the NFL.
I really like the packages that they use, whether you're talking about 2 tight ends, 1 back. They go with a fullback in the backfield. We've seen them in empty sets. So they're going to give you a lot from a defensive standpoint that you have to be able to prepare for, and whether you want to play base defense, a regular 4-3, or whether you want to go nickel to some of those looks as well.
Levis trying to lead the Blue to his second touchdown drive. Throws this one on a roll out, complete at the 30, breaking a tackle at the 25, and finally spun down to the 22 is Robinson. Another good pickup in the Kentucky passing game. That'll go for 12.
And we talked about the personnel. Now you see some of the formations. This is just a bootleg and just a delayed out from your receiver, from Robinson. And so we saw him run the quick out earlier, and now this is just a delayed out of the bootleg from the quarterback, and a little pressure off of the edge, get rid of it, give my playmaker another opportunity to make a play, and he picks up another first down for you.
Remember, that's a secondary that lost Yusuf Corker, who was one of the more prominent defensive backs in the league the last couple of years. So there's some fresh blood in the secondary for Kentucky this season. That ball is on target, little bit of a juggle, and then the grab by the freshman Dane Key, who they have high hopes for, the reigning Kentucky 5A Player of the Year.
When you talk about a rocket of a throw, that was a rocket by Will Levis, and like you talked about, a little bit of a bobble by Key, but you know, he doesn't lose as far as the concentration. He's able to catch it. That ball gets up on him probably quicker than he wanted it when you look at Key's perspective, but as soon as he's making that break, it's right there. So nice job by Will Levis being able to get it to Key as soon as he's making that break.
Key's father, Dante, played linebacker for the Wildcats back in the day. Another impressive drive for Will Levis, now 7 of 8 for Levis, 98 yards and 2 touchdowns as Ruffalo cashes in on another extra point.
Just really like the throw here by Will Levis, and you can look at your defensive back kind of almost thinking, Tyrell Angie thinking that it was going to be tipped up in the air, but Key is able to kind of hold on to it, bobbled it a little bit, but he's able to double catch it in a sense. And
Key and Robinson leading the way on that drive. Lauren Sisler, what do you have?
Yeah, Will Levis just came off the football field pretty fired up. He ran off to the sideline and said, that's how you anticipate the throw. That's how you anticipate the throw. And he obviously talks about that with the chemistry he's trying to build with these guys, and very high on his wide receivers and getting that rotation going. And he wants to build up that confidence within them. And obviously, that's exactly what he's able to do, talking to these guys. That's how you anticipate the throw. And he knew Dane Key was going to be right there for it.
Well, Laura, when you talk about anticipating, I don't know if Dane Key was anticipating, because that was a rocket. I mean, as soon as he makes the break, that was a good reaction by Key to be able to hold on to it. But that's one where you see a young player being able to play with a veteran and understanding, hey, look, as soon as you make this break, that football is going to be there. And so as soon as he did, it surprised him. You can tell his reaction, it kind of surprised him, but he's talented enough to be able to hold on to the football.
You might give an assist to his shoulder pad on that reception. There you see Levis. Lauren mentioned the confidence of Levis. I'm confident that Will Levis is living his best life. I'm going to tell you what, he's going to the Masters tomorrow. He's going to the Kentucky Derby. He's going to Keeneland next Friday. Keeneland began today in earnest at 1 o'clock after the snow settled. He's already got an NIL deal that's in the neighborhood of 6 figures. He's doing okay for himself.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, the decision to be able to transfer and be able to come here and just do the things that he's done for this football team and just take it to the next level, he's doing pretty good.
And he's led the Blue to 2 opening touchdown drives. And just like that, quarter number 1 is in the books from Lexington. Second quarter action coming your way after this timeout. This weekend in Lexington, not just because of the spring game, but Keeneland beginning today. Everybody familiar with the Kentucky Derby. Those around these parts very familiar with Keeneland, one of the more beautiful horse tracks in the world, and they do a terrific job twice a year. They get it done in April, they get it done in October, and several thousand fans ready for that this season as you look at some of the Kentucky ranks this year. And again, the passing game, 225 a year ago. They certainly believe that number can be improved upon, Deuce. The running game, kind of get the feeling they're going to be okay running. The question is, what's the ceiling this year for the passing game?
Well, I think, you know, if you're able to hit that number with the passing game, I think obviously that's going to be because of your quarterback, and that's just him improving, him growing, and being able to grow with some of those transfers. And you talk about Key being able to step up. There's going to have to be other guys that step up as well. You're not going to put all of that on a freshman, but a lot of that will be because of your quarterback, Will Levis.
Levis is out. Deuce Hogan is in, the 6'4" sophomore out of South Lake, Texas. He's a transfer from Iowa, played sparingly for the Hawkeyes. He is very raw, but extremely athletic. They love his arm. They love his toughness. They think he can be a good one in time.
And that's just, you know, experience. That's reps. That's being able to get in this offense. That's learned from a veteran like Will Levis, be able to come in, be early, leave late. That's some of the things that you're going to have to be able to do.
Drennan in the backfield dots the I for the Blue. On 2nd down and 8. It's Drennan with a head of steam. Tripped up, but second effort's going to push the pile past the marker And all the way down to the 35-yard line, Luke Fulton, the linebacker, finally on the tackle after a gain of 12.
Just love Drennan here. Just keeps his feet moving, and he gets skinny in a sense, and guys just missing. Some poor tackling there by the White defensively. They've got to do a better job of wrapping up, but really nice running by Drennan by being able to just slide off of guys and then keep his feet moving.
Drennan was the number 21 running back at a high school, according to ESPN, out of Dublin, Ohio. Of course, Ohio, a major recruiting area for Coach Stoops and company. On first down, little slip screen inside to McLean, but bottled up quickly after a gain of about a yard.
Nice job of catching that football there by McLean, but one of the things he's going to learn real quick is once I catch it, I have to get upfield north, because you've got all of that traffic. Those defensive linemen and linebackers, they're tracking the football. They are in pursuit. That turns into a pursuit drill. So as soon as you catch it, you take 1 or 2 steps, and you've got to get north up the football field.
Swarming defense there by the White team. Of course, it's a defense that lost a couple of key players in Pascal and Corker. Love the linebacking core we talked about earlier. Still going to try to get another defensive back out of the transfer portal. In fact, talking with Mark Stoops yesterday, they want 2 things out of the portal. They want another defensive back, and they want to find themselves another offensive tackle.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, overall, that's really what this spring is about, particularly when you have the transfer portal and guys have the ability to move, whether that's during the spring or, anytime really as far as movement is concerned. But once you have your evaluation of what your team looks like, it's almost like the NFL in a sense where it's free agency and see who's in the portal, how can they help my team. And, I think really when you look at it from a defensive back standpoint, losing Vito Tisdale to an ACL this spring really accelerates them needing that position.
Yeah, he'll be out for the season in all likelihood. On 3rd down and 9, heavy pursuit, and that time Hogan had to just throw it away. Jordan Lovett was flying around, and he's a sophomore out of Ratcliffe, Kentucky. They are really excited about Jordan Lovett and what kind of player he can be.
Well, I really like the job to be able to blitz off of the edge, and then him getting to the quarterback and breaking down in a sense where I'm not going to allow this quarterback to kind of shake me or juke me out of once they brought that pressure. And you talk about pressure on a 3rd and 9 situation, long down and distance. We've seen this Kentucky White defense be able to drop guys in coverage, but at times also bring pressure, whether that's off the edge or up the middle.
This will be a 52-yard attempt. Ruffalo's career long is from 50. That came against Missouri in 2020. Snap and hold are true. Kick is on the way. It's weaving and pushed to the right. That might have been some wind. It is a windy day here in Lexington. Now the field goal is off the mark. Timeout on the field. Back to action here in Lexington, the spring game, blue and white. As you look at the job that Mark Stoops has done, time flies when you're having fun. It's now his 10th year at the helm of this program. 59 wins. That's just 1 behind the legendary Paul Bear Bryant. And what he has done, remember, this was kind of a rebuild. And the first few years, it did not happen overnight. They took their lumps. This was going to be a slow progress year by year. Had to take some patience from the administration, and boy, has that paid off. 6 consecutive bowl games, 4 consecutive bowl victories, and 2 10-win seasons, thought to be almost unheard of with Kentucky football, as Dane Key reels that one in. And standing by with Coach Stoops is Lauren.
Coach, coming off a 10-win season, what has been a big focal point for you guys this spring as you head into the 2022 season?
Just keep on pushing, keep on getting better. Remain consistent with the good things we're doing, and then continue to improve in the areas where we're falling short, continuing to build depth. But we got good pieces around here to push forward and get better.
Talking about building depth and some of those good pieces at the wide receiver position, obviously Wan'Dale Robinson no longer with you. A lot of a production loss there, but some guys stepping up here, Key being one of them, Robinson being another. What are you seeing from those receivers so far?
Yeah, just like you said, Tavion, is a guy that we have a lot of trust in. He's played a lot of football. Seeing Dane come in as a true freshman making plays, he's impressed us all spring. We feel like there's a lot of good players there in that room, and we're getting better as a whole.
From your perspective on the defensive side of the football, what are some key areas you guys need to focus on and get better on, and you're going to focus on in the offseason here?
Sorry, I was paying attention there. Defense side of the ball, did you say?
Defensive side of the football.
Well, we want to continue to get pressure on the quarterback. Having JJ back better at full strength. A year ago, he was playing soon after an ACL injury. Having him back at full strength will really help us get pressure on the quarterback. Same with Jordan Wright, getting him back for another year. Just more consistency and pressure in the quarterback. We need to build some depth in the secondary as well.
Yeah, we can keep walking and talking. I just wanted to ask you, we'll go back to the offensive side of the football real quick. Obviously, some changes there from a coaching standpoint. You bring in a new offensive line coach in Yenzer and also Scangarillo coming in. What have you seen from those coaches and how they've transitioned to be able to kind of carry this offense coming from the NFL mindset?
Yeah, it's been a relatively easy transition. There's definitely some nuances. It's different in a lot of ways, but for our players, it's easy. We're constantly building and tweaking and trying to get better anyway. So to them, it's interesting, it's fun, it's exciting to continue to grow. Look at some of the best in the world doing it, grabbing film from the NFL, and it carries right over to our practice field. So it's exciting for all of us.
And last thing, how nice is it to have a quarterback like Will Levis leading the charge for you guys coming into this season with that experience?
Well, that's definitely a key piece. I mean, you could see him out here today. It's very cold, it's windy, and I was watching him in pregame, watching him throw here. It's amazing that the talent that he has, and he works extremely hard. He's a great leader, so that's a great foundation for us to build on.
Yeah, we weren't expecting white on the grass today, but at least we can see the grass now. It's green. That's a positive, right?
That is a positive. That snow came in, but it melted off quick. We're getting some good work in right now, so it's good.
All right, thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Lauren, great stuff from Coach Mark Stoops. Yeah, for those that are wondering what Lauren is talking about with the white on the field, I mean, it was snowing 90 minutes before kickoff. The entire field was a shade of white covered in snow, and they melted it quickly. We had a little sunshine, and it's actually turned out to be much better than it originally was today. But this is record cold for a Kentucky spring game. In fact, talking to longtime sports information director Tony Neely, he said in his 28 years of covering spring games, he's never seen snow on the ground for a spring game here at Kroger Field. But that's what it was at 11:30. I mean, look at they're moving the Peloton off the field. I don't know if the Peloton does real well with snow in it. And you got the players saying, the heck with this. Let's go back into the locker room. Let this thing heat up for a little bit. It did. Snow is gone. Still chilly, very windy. Not exactly ideal, but heck.
You got to play.
You got to play. I mean, when we get to football in November, Deuce, you're going to be playing in some cold weather, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, you never know how the weather may act, and so, hey, it prepares these young men they've got to be able to be prepared and ready to play.
Hogan on the handoff. Drennan's been busy. He'll burrow his way out to the 11-yard line, gobbling up 5 more yards. It's Deuce Hogan on this drive. We've seen Levis, we've seen Allen, and Deuce Hogan. We'll eventually in the second half see Kaya Sharon, another sophomore out of Somerset, Kentucky.
And really like just the job offensively that they've been able to do, some of the things that they've been able to do. We talked about the personnel. We've talked about some of the different plays and just guys making plays for those quarterbacks, and offensively they've been able to do so.
We'll see how this drive culminates. 2nd down and 5. Ball spotted at the 11. It's Hogan out of the gun. Plenty of time. Rips one toward the corner, complete at the 5. And down to the 3.5-yard line. That'll be a first down. That's Rashawn Lewis, his first reception.
Just a nice job of being able to fit the football in there on the out route, and pretty good coverage by Lewis. By Williams there on just a quick out, but just an accurate throw by Hogan on that reception.
Well, now 1st down and goal inside the 5-yard line. Confidence building drive perhaps for Deuce Hogan. McClain to his left. And trips to the near side for the blue. Hogan backpedals under hot pursuit. Did they call him down or not? Either way, he throws it away. Joel Williams was breathing down his neck. Joel Williams, the junior out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
And Coach Stoops said, hey, look, that's not a sack there. Just mark it back at the 5-yard line. In a game, I think it would have been a sack. But well, now the ref has thrown down a flag. here, and I think that's probably intentional grounding.
Yeah.
I don't know if Coach Stoops sees that. The defensive coaches are probably yelling, saying, yeah, the defensive coaches are yelling, saying, no, that's a grounding.
That's right.
And they're going to decline it. So it was intentional grounding, but it's declined. So they want to get some red zone inside the 5 work in. There was a pressure and there was a delayed blitz there by Joel Williams, and he would have been the individual that got the sack.
So they'll decline it, try to further build a little confidence here on this drive, and now Bo Allen checks in at quarterback on 2nd and goal. 5 in the pattern for Allen. Missiles one over the middle, but incomplete. Tried to thread the needle to Rashawn Lewis, but good coverage there by the Kentucky secondary. I saw Jalen Geiger, one of the guys in there. Jalen Geiger, who's got a tough task to replace Yusuf Corker, who was an all-SEC performer.
Yeah, and a little confusion there by that secondary before the snap. They were fortunate enough that underneath throw they were able to get a couple hands on the football, but you saw some confusion there, and that's kind of what happens when you try to replace all SEC players and then you lose another one to injury in the spring.
Now Allen will stay in on 3rd and goal. Allen to his right, taps it, fires it, bobbled. That should have been a touchdown. Right in the hands of 89 Chris Lewis.
I think they're going to take a timeout here to stop the clock to try to get one more play in. I think that's what Coach Stoops was saying, that they wanted to get maybe one more play in with the offense right before the half. But yeah, that should have been a touchdown. As you run across the back line, you've got to be able to come up with that football, and he never was able to secure it. Lewis was not.
So we'll have what really equates to an untimed down here. That'll be the final play of the first half. It'll be a 4th and 3, and Hogan will get back in at quarterback. Again, expecting about 75 plays in total in this spring game. Hogan from the pocket. Throws incomplete, deflected, intended for Lewis, and a beautiful play by Jordan Lovett. I talked about how excited they are about number 25 in white for Kentucky. Second great play by him in the secondary, and that will bring us to halftime here in Lexington. Defense stepping up on that drive. Blue unable to cash in. In the Kentucky spring game, a chilly one at that, here from Kroger Field. Mike Morgan, Deuce McAllister, Lawrence Sisler. Will Levis, 2 touchdown drives early on. What did you like, what you saw out of Will Levis?
Well, you like the composure. You saw the difference from an offensive standpoint when Will Levis is at quarterback. He knows where he's going with the football. He can get you in and out of the huddle. We didn't see tempo kind of sense, but you can tell just by his demeanor that they can go tempo and kind of keep a defense out there on what they want to do. So you like the decision-making ability, and a lot of that extra pressure, just because of some of the losses that you had, will fall on Will.
Pretty good day at the office for Will Levis. Don't think we'll see him in the second half. Might see more of Dane Key, who you saw in one of those touchdown receptions. Talented freshman, 6'3", 190 pounds. Mark Stoops says he is the outside wide receiver threat we've been waiting for around here for a long time.
Well, and for him, it's just going to be reps. It's going to be able to get on the same page with your quarterback, understanding on certain routes. This is where to look for the football, being able to see SEC defenses, see how teams play him, whether it's bracket coverages, whether it's, you're going to get man-to-man press coverage. He'll get different looks. His role will continue to increase with this team, though.
Now the NFL draft is less than 3 weeks away. April 28th, 29th, and 30th. We'll have every pick once again on ESPN, along with our usual expert analysis. It's also available on the NFL Network, and ABC's coverage focuses on the prospect's journey to the draft. All 3 days, also on ESPN Deportes, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. What was it like for you getting ready for the NFL draft, Deuce?
Stressful. I mean, you've been going and training since, late January, mid-January, and to finally have that opportunity to hear your name called, and for the young men that don't get their name called as far as drafted, you can still make a productive career in the NFL as an undrafted player. So, good luck to all those gentlemen that are preparing for it. And like I said, if your name doesn't get called, it's not the end of the world. You can still go and play in that league.
Who gave you the phone call?
The New Orleans Saints.
I mean, who specifically from the Saints?
Well, I talked to Coach Jim Haslett, Coach Randy Mueller, but, you know, I had talked to a couple other teams even before the New Orleans Saints picked me with the number 23 pick.
On first down, from the pocket, hit as he throws, perfect strike to the 45, and then the ball is jarred loose, recovered by the Blue. That is something that was a major issue last year for this Kentucky team. Turnovers, somehow they won 10 games, being -11 in turnover margin, something I've never seen before.
Yeah, you never really see that, and that's one where Upshaw does a nice job of being able to make that catch as he's running that flag route, but he's got to hold on to that football, and you know, maybe it's just the cold weather that he didn't squeeze it all the way. It felt that contact, but you know, even before the throw, there was really nice pressure by Josiah Hayes being able to get maybe a possible sack on the quarterback, but also the offense was able to recover it as well.
Quarterback on this drive is Kaiya Sheron, who we talked about earlier. You see the numbers. I don't know what UTEP, I don't know what the secret sauce was for the Miners, but I can tell you for Kentucky, they won in spite of the turnover margin, because when they weren't turning it over, they were controlling the clock on the ground, playing good defense. And again, they won a lot of close games. When I think back of these 10-win seasons, these bowl games for Mark Stoops, so many of their signature wins have come down to the fourth quarter and even the final minutes.
Well, that's a poised team, and that's a team that, you know, doesn't they're not going to get rattled. I mean, and so when you talk about being able to go out and execute, whether it's offense or defense, and be able to close out a game, that's exactly what they did. And I think that's, you know, when you talk about a head coach, that's a team taking on the persona of your head coach. This
building was deafening last year when they defeated Florida at home. That was part of a 6-0 start for Kentucky. Then they would drop 3 in a row. Georgia, Mississippi State, Tennessee, all quality teams. 2 of those losses were on the road. And then they finish up with 4 consecutive wins and then a bowl win over Iowa in Orlando, 20-17, the final score. And you see, again, second 10-win season in 4 years. 5-1 in games decided by 7 points or less. That has become a trademark of Mark Stoops' teams. They don't blow people out typically, but they win a lot of close games.
Well, you're not going to rattle them. I mean, and I think that's them being able to stay in that football game, and you're not going to rattle them just because the game is close. And so, you know, Coach Stoops has his quarterback back with him. When you talk about just the losses on defenses, can my linebackers and secondary keep me in a game to, if it's in the fourth quarter, we like our chances because we know we can finish off ball games.
Cavassier smoke on that last carry, good for 3 yards. He had a monster game against LSU, 12 carries and a career high 104 yards. But you get the sense he's going to have to do everything right, not just on the field, but off the field to stay in the good graces and high up on the depth chart with some talented backs ahead of him, including Chris Rodriguez and Jatan McClain. Lavelle Wright, again, not playing in this game, but the sophomore out of Louisville is a guy who certainly will get his fair share of touches this year as well. Sheron unable to rifle that one complete at the 19-yard line. That was intended for Chris Lewis, who had the touchdown drop earlier today. You see the difference. I mean, again, Will Levis is an NFL quarterback. With all due respect to Allen, Sheron, and Hogan, there's a little bit of a drop-off.
Well, there's a drop-off, and I mean, you may not have the same level of receiver as well, and understanding the offense. You know, that's one of the things that some of these younger players may not be there with their development in this offensive system, and that's where just the difference that they have to continue to get those young men ready to play, you know, once Will Levis does graduate and leave.
They'll go for it on fourth down. From the pocket, tap and fire, leaping catch at the 20-yard line by Rashawn Lewis. 14-yard pickup.
Well, you really just like his ball placement here, because you don't want to lead your receiver so much that he is hit and dislodged of the football. And it's a really nice job by Lewis being able to understand and know that, hey, look, it's going to be a little bit behind. I've just got to be able to make a play and catch this football for my quarterback.
Sheron now 2 for 3, 39 yards through the air. Sophomore from Somerset, Kentucky. Hey, that hot, fiery ball they call the sun is making a cameo. Look at that. There's sunlight here at Kroger Field.
a couple hours ago, you would not have thought that at all.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally snowing 2 hours ago. When we walked out of the hotel room this morning, it was like a sleet storm. Weather just on shuffle mode.
We've had
here
everything.
In the Commonwealth.
Yeah, we've had everything but brutal heat so far.
Right.
You've got all the seasons all in one day.
We'll get that heat in a few months. Looking forward to that, actually. 2nd and 7. Behind the right side of the line. That's going to be Smoke on the carry for a gain of 5. Lauren Sisler, what do you have?
Y'all, I got to take some credit for the snow today, because I've always wanted to do a snow game. Always wanted to do one, never got the opportunity, and here we are in the middle of April, and I finally got to do my snow game. Obviously, it evaporated pretty quick, and you know, the green came out, but you can blame me for the snow earlier today.
You could have gotten a snow angel in like an hour and a half before kickoff.
Right, well then when I ran down here to try to get on the field when there was snow, then it melted like almost instantly.
See, we're just going to have to put you on a MAC game in November. We'll get that dream to come true, I promise you. Did you like playing in the cold at all, Deuce?
Not at all. Brutal. It was brutal, and you felt it. I mean, you talk about the hits, and you know, one of the things that I learned in the NFL was, you know, when it's, I guess, freezing temperature, you don't have water, Gatorade on the sideline. They give you chicken broth.
Right.
It's chicken broth, and I'm from the South. I never knew that, and so it's like, man, what are you drinking? We give you chicken broth.
Chicken broth. So chicken broth in the cold. You could do what Deuce Staley did in the hot. You could drink the pickle juice, right?
I was used to the pickle juice. That wasn't a problem. It was just the freezing cold. How do you try to hydrate in it?
That's Clevan Thomas with the catch in the flat. He missed last year with a torn ACL, but he's actually one of the more experienced wideouts on this team.
Well, and any time that you're coming off that ACL injury, particularly with a skilled position, you want to just make sure he has confidence. And one of the things, you know, running straight forward, that's not the issue. It's being able to plant. It's being able to trust that once I plant, I will be able to make the move, and you know, my knee isn't gonna give out. And so, you know, credit to the strength and conditioning staff as well as the medical staff for being able to get a couple players back from those ACL injuries.
Sharon trying to cap off this drive with a touchdown. 1st and goal from the 6. Handoff straight up the gut and piled up at the goal line. Did he get through? He did. A touchdown for Drennan.
Just a really nice job. We've seen Drennan earlier with another run where he was able just to be able to get behind some of those offensive linemen and keep those legs moving. And here it's just inside zone, and he finds that soft spot in that, behind that line, and he's able to get it just enough across to be able to have a touchdown. And so you'll see him line up as a receiver. You'll see him line up in the slot. You'll see him line up as a tailback, whether it's single back and or with the fullback, but he's a weapon for this offense.
It's funny, it might be a spring game, but when you're that close to the goal line, you want to get 6 no matter what.
Oh, you want to score.
Ruffalo, a doink shot, a missed extra point, and a nice drive by Kaya Sharon and the blue team. Morgan, Deuce McAllister, Lauren Sisler, 3rd quarter. That man, Mark Stoops, in his 10th year, hoping to have another successful campaign. 10 wins a season ago and another bowl victory, the 4th consecutive for this Kentucky program. Kentucky had never finished in sole possession of 2nd place in the Eastern Division. They did that last year at 5-3. Everybody's going to pick Georgia, of course, to win the East. The question becomes, who will be the team to get at 2nd, and who knows, maybe even farther than that.
Yeah, farther than that. I mean, when you talk about building a program, that's exactly what he's been able to do. And you talked about it earlier, just having some trust from the administration to get all of the pieces in place, and he's got the train rolling for sure now.
Of course, a key part of that success will be Will Levis, and standing by with the quarterback is Lauren.
Will Levis standing by here, exiting stage left. You did your duty there in the first half of the spring game. Just take me through spring and how you've grown and developed and what your expectations are for this upcoming season for you.
Yeah, it's just taking that next step. Even though we have a new offensive coordinator, it's just as an offense and all the guys that have come back from last year, we just want to make sure that we're just a cohesive unit that's taking steps together and that we're all on the same page. And that's what I think we did a great job of this spring. There's obviously going to be some trials and tribulations, but I'm really proud about how we performed today and how we just developed all throughout spring. And we're only going to get better through the summer.
You talk about development, especially at the wide receiver position. You lose a lot of production in Wan'Dale Robinson, but now the key is how you get some of these other guys in the mix. Yeah. How do you help to build up some of that chemistry and that confidence with those guys coming into the season?
It's just reps, and I think we did a good job of getting in the extra work before spring ball started, and then even with spring ball, getting in extra. Good play. There you go, Son. All right. But yeah, just getting those reps, and it's getting that connection down, because you got to be on the same page. Sometimes the timing on a throw to one receiver might be a little different than the other, and you got to know that. And I think we got a lot of good depth right now, a lot of good young guys who can step up and make big plays, and they've already made some big plays today. So just you're going to keep working on it and keep getting them better and keep bringing them along.
Hey, I like it, the commentary down here. That makes for good TV. Hey, because you're someone that said maybe one day you might be in this position doing some commentary for TV. Who knows what that looks like. With that being said, we talk about your new offensive coordinator, Rich Scangarello, and him coming in. He's only been here a month. What have you guys done to build that chemistry and to earn that trust between one another? Because you said Coach wants you to become an extension of the coaching staff, right?
Yeah, it's just getting in with him and getting in the extra film and talking to him about everything from personal life to football, so he gets to know how I tick, both on the field and off, and just getting to know each other as much as possible. I mean, I think that's huge, and that's something that I understood and developed as I got through my college career, in that my relationship with my coach isn't necessarily such a really serious relationship. I need to be able to share things with him, and we can be on the same page so that I can be an extension of the coaching staff, like you said.
So as spring ball gets ready to wrap up, you got some fun things on the agenda coming up this spring and summer. One of those being tomorrow, Masters Sunday, going to experience that for the first time in Augusta, and I must say I'll be heading that way as well. So what are you looking forward to most as a golf guy that gets to go experience the Masters for the first time?
I'm looking forward to seeing Tiger. He's one of those few athletes where it's probably him, LeBron, Jordan, and Tom Brady, where I'd see him and maybe take a couple seconds to just make sure it's real. But he's one of those guys where it's just bigger than life, and to be able to see him and all the other awesome golfers out there do an experience like that, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I'm really excited for it.
All right, Will, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Hold up.
I just want to say thank you so much to the fans. I know that this weather is not what we expected. It was 80 last week, 30 today. I mean, that's what you get out of Kentucky weather, but cold never bothered us anyway, so good job, Big Blue Nation. Thank you so much for the support.
All right, we thank you, Will. We appreciate it. Good luck this season, and enjoy the Masters. So guys, we'll send it back up to you.
All right, great stuff, and nice job by Will. And yeah, if you're sitting out there in the crowd today at about 30-degree windy temperatures with snow in the pregame, yeah, you do deserve an attaboy, attagirl, no doubt about that. They would have had a record crowd, they thought, for the spring game if we had that 80-degree weather that was here not long ago. Meanwhile, this drive continues. The key play, a 32-yard reception by Rasan Lewis, and Bo Allen continues to march the blue down the field all the way to the 1-yard line.
Well, and just you see the distribution of the football by Bo Allen as well, and just a really nice job of guys making plays for him as also.
Allen one-on-one, and nothing there that time for Dane Key, who was blanketed on the play by 24 Elijah Reed, freshman from Louisville. And that will conclude quarter number 3, but we kind of make the rules on the fly here. It's a spring game. Anything goes.
Anything goes, and Coach Stoops, he has to be pleased with what he's seen so far. And, he's rotated a lot of quarterbacks. We heard, obviously, Will Levis there talking to us, but, he's rotated some other guys and to be able to get them some reps, and you've got to get some experience with those guys.
This is like soccer. We've got an extra play without knowing how much time is truly left. Handoff. That's going to be a touchdown, and that's going to be another score for Mike Drennan, the junior from Dublin, Ohio, having a heck of a game.
Well, you love the feet. I mean, you see the feet. You see him be able to move, just be able to find the soft spot. You've got over pursuit by defense, and just understanding and knowing what your offensive line is doing as they move guys out. We talked earlier about losing 3 starters on that offensive line, but so far they've done a nice job being able to protect the quarterbacks and being able to open up lanes for those running backs.
We should mention, too, they are without their star center Eli Cox today. He's at his brother's wedding. Who could blame him for attending that? Nice drive by the Blue. Nice run by Michael Drennan.
We're going to highlight Godwin. He's the five-star freshman left tackle here in this game, and his job is to be able to bump over to the Mike linebacker 48. But what he does is he sees trash in the line of scrimmage, and that was Jordan Leavitt. He does a nice job of being able to take him. What you don't want Dingle to do, number 47, your fullback, is stop in the hole. You want him to continue up to that safety, but nice job by the offense, particularly by Drennan being able to see it and be able to make a play still.
Hogan unloading a deep ball to Magwood. That'll draw a penalty. Goodwin, you're talking about a big-time five-star recruit. He was the headliner of the 15th best recruiting class in the country. That's one of the best in school history. That's what Mark Stoops and company have built here in Lexington. And they built a reputation, the Big Blue Wall. It's not many offensive lines in college football that have their own nickname and identity the way Kentucky does. Keontae Goodwin wanted to be a part of that, turned down offers from Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State. He's going to be a good one in time.
Well, he's a Kentucky kid, and I think that's where you talk about being able to build a brand when you talk about that football program that Coach Stoops has done. That's exactly what you mean, particularly when you talk about the level of a recruit that he was. And at 6'8", 355, yeah, I think he plays well being a part of the Big Blue Wall.
Nice shake and bake there by the fullback, Justin Dingle, transfer from Georgia Tech. They like their fullbacks this year, Wheatley, Dingle, Jack Varga as well. That'll go for 15 yards and a first down.
Well, normally you have a lot of success being able to be a blocker, and they throw you a little bone to be able to get you the football out in the flat and let you be able to make some plays, and so nice job.
I love that reaction. It's like, because as you mentioned, if you're a Kentucky fullback, you are going to block. You're not going to get nearly as many touches as you are lowering the shoulders and blocking people, but every now and then you get a chance to put a highlight together.
It's a nice job there of the quarterback. There's probably been 3 or 4 snaps from quarterback to center exchange where it looks like it's almost bobbled or a little late. It's a nice job by the quarterback, just be able to get that center exchange snap, get it to Kavasier Smoke.
Yeah, 9-yard sprint for Smoke.
And it's always hard on a quarterback and a center when you're rotating as much as they have. Mm-hmm. We've seen them rotate 2 quarterbacks on a drive, and obviously being able to do it here, that center just has to kind of know and understand that each quarterback, they accept the snap a little bit different each time.
And a little comfort level that you lose when you have the lack of continuity. And again, the guy that is going to start at center this year is an awful good one, and Eli Cox, he's not available for this game. But Eli Cox is back. Kenneth Horsey, another returning starter, is back. He'll be the left guard. And then you've got room for 3 new starters. And, we just talked about Goodwin. You've got some other guys fighting for those spots, whether it's Buford or Wilson or Jeremy Flax.
And Manning is another one, just to be able to throw his name in the ring. And that's one of the things that they'll continue to kind of develop as far as that offensive line. One, that you have to have 5, but you've got to get some quality depth. And so normally you want to play anywhere between 7 to 8 offensive linemen in a game.
Deuce Hogan. Got 2 deuces here. One in the booth, one at quarterback right now for Blue.
He's the most important. So you saw the snap there again. You just see the hesitate, the pause, and that's just one of the things that they'll continue to work on, just being able to get it clean from quarterback to center. The exchange is always critical. I mean, he's the individual, that quarterback in the center. They're going to touch it every time that you're out on the field.
By the way, we've talked so much about the offensive line during this drive, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Zach Yenzer, the new offensive line coach, also from the NFL, from the 49ers, and goes all the way back to his days at Fort Mitchell, Kentucky. So he's a Kentucky guy. He got awfully excited about the opportunity, and he gets a chance to go back to where he calls home. And he was a guy who played and coached under the late John Schlarman at Troy. Of course, John Schlarman made his mark here at Kentucky and passed away a couple of years ago, but John Schlarman is so much the name that will forever be linked to the identity that is the Big Blue Wall with these Kentucky offensive lines.
And you talk about tall shoes to be able to step in and be able to lead, but it's about, molding young men. That's what it's all about, and that's what he'll try to do. You bring a little bit of what you learned in the NFL, and you want to be able to teach these young men of how it's supposed to be done.
Hogan completes one to Drennan. Lauren, do you have more on the story?
Yeah, you talk about Coach Schlarman. He was truly a champion of this program, and Yenser hopes to carry on his legacy. Yenser, a player and coach, as you said, under Schlarman at Troy, carries a lot of his knowledge and perspective, but he also carries himself and values relationships just as Schlarman did. Stoops says he understands the system really well, and Kentucky is where his roots are. So really, he said it's the perfect fit, almost too perfect, if that's even possible.
Yeah, well, you'll take perfect every time if you can get it. And Scangarello and the addition of Zach Yenser, two guys, not just NFL. What really Mark Stoops loves is what they're doing in San Francisco and Los Angeles. That's where they got Cohen with the Rams. They go to the 49ers. Both those teams run a unique type of offense that Kentucky wants to employ here in Lexington.
Well, one of the things that you do also is what can my quarterback handle? That's the first and foremost, because we can have packages out of your mind, but the question becomes, can my quarterback handle it? Can we be able to tell him what we want to do, and then him be able to go and tell the players, and can they go out there and execute? And I think they have obviously a great quarterback that can handle any system that they kind of employ. My question becomes, Mike, how much of the system did they change from last year? Was it just terminology, or are they going to keep some of those concepts? And obviously the concepts that work, you'll keep them, but how much more will they continue to add from here, spring game, up until regular season?
Yeah, maybe they open it up even a little bit more. I mean, it was a dramatic shift in philosophy last year, maybe even some extra wrinkles this season under Coach Scangarello.
Well, you definitely know that some of those will come. I mean, because your playbook can have 600 plays, but if your players can't execute all 600, why are you even running them? Why are you even carrying them?
Drennan's in the backfield. He's already got a 2-touchdown day work, and it'll be Hogan on play action, though. And goes back in the end zone, touchdown. That is Cole Lanter with the backflip after the score. A preferred walk-on, the freshman from Danville, Kentucky.
Really nice job of Hogan, because any other time you probably think that quarterback is going to run that football, but he does a nice job of being able to find his receiver, just running the drag across the middle, and nice catch, but even better, backflip.
Yeah. On a day like today, I mean, even if you're a backflip specialist, that's a risky move.
See the catch and a touchdown.
Clock here at Kroger Field, just over 5 minutes left in this spring game, and I know J.J. Weaver here is excited about it because he's been over here shivering a little bit. He finally took the coat off. This Florida boy, I know, I get it, it's cold. But hey, I just want to talk to you a little bit first and foremost about your story, your comeback. Obviously coming off 2 years ACL, you've had to rehab. You've been through a lot, you've lost a lot, but you've also inspired and encouraged a lot of people. How has your story and sharing your story really helped you to come out of your shell and really make an impact on the field and off the field?
It helped me mature a lot better, lead. So it helped me be a leader a lot. So my story helped me inspire others that been in my shoes or going through what I'm going through in my lifestyle, So I just want to be inspired and lead my team in the right way, so I'm matured through that process.
And leading your team, you've really stepped up as a vocal leader. I know earlier this week in practice, you told the guys you didn't like what you saw on defense, get in the film room. How have you been encouraged and inspired by other guys around you to really step up and be that vocal leader?
Like getting from Josh Allen or Josh Pascal, all them guys, looking up to them, they helped me lead. So they my role models on leading the team. So like how they move, how they lead us, I'm trying to follow the pattern for me, for all in futures.
All right, so here's the deal. I've got in my hand here the J.J. Weaver nutrition plan, okay? And at the top right now it says 4,100 to 4,600 calories a day. I've actually been told by your nutritionist we're bumping it up to 5,000 calories a day. Pretty impressive stuff. So you want to gain about 20 pounds before the start of the season. Looking down this list, okay, so you've got to eat 2 meals before practice in the morning? Okay, so how does this whole thing work? When you run down this list, like what are some of the things you're eating that you have to load up on so you can gain that 20 pounds?
I drink a lot of carbs, so like milk, eggs, a lot of grits. I love grits, so in the morning I eat like...
You like the cheese grits or sugar in your grits?
Cheese grits, sugar grits, all that, yeah. I'm more, a lot of more protein, drink a lot of protein for sure.
And one thing I love here, it says that you're allowed to eat hot fries before your nap. Do you love French fries?
I love hot fries. I love French fries, yes, ma'am.
Like, is that your thing?
My favorite, my go-to. Every time I go to the store, I'm grabbing a bag of hot fries.
I love it. This guy right here, guys, J.J. Weaver, he's got the whole rundown here. I don't know about you guys up in the booth, but I wouldn't hate getting to eat 5-6 meals a day, especially carb loading, lots of pasta, lots of French fries. I don't know, you kind of have it made. You think you're going to get there 20 pounds?
Most definitely. It's basically about me, you know, if I want it bad enough. So I want it bad enough, I'm going to do it. Most definitely.
J.J. Weaver, he wants it bad enough. Guys, I'll send it back up to you in the booth as we close this thing out. We got a little less than 3 minutes on the clock.
Well, I'll tell you, Lauren, not to brag, but during the heart of COVID season, I put on 15 myself. So it is possible, and I didn't have 5,000 calories a day. I just didn't do any activity, any exercise, Deuce.
Well, if JJ's looking for a few pounds, I can lend him a few. I mean, I can lend him a few.
You'll lend him a few?
Yeah, and he can keep it. He doesn't have to give it back to me. And, you know, we were good all the way into the grits with sugar on it.
Yeah.
I got to put a little salt on my grits. I can't have sugar. Mike, what's your go-to meal?
See, I asked him when we talked about this, how about pasta? He said, oh, yeah, a lot of pasta. So I could eat pasta every day.
I can do that. I mean, pasta, you know, any really type, you know, it doesn't have to have a lot of sauce. You know, just give me a little meat with it and we're good to go.
Absolutely. I'm not afraid to carb load now. I just don't need 20 extra pounds like my man J.J. Weaver there. Well, as you can see, it's a running clock. We're under 2 minutes. We've played 70 snaps so far. Coach Stoops telling us yesterday they wanted about 75. So he's right on target to hit the mark that he wanted. You had 14 different players catch a pass today. You had Dane Key and Tavion Robinson show flashes in the first half. And, of course, Will Levis, ever steady, looked very sharp when he was out there.
I think the biggest thing that you want to continue to do is try to stretch that field. You know, play action will be critical for this team, particularly when you have to lean on the run game a little bit more. So can I stretch the field? Can I get chunk yardage? Can I get plus 20 yards down the field, whether that's over route, whether that's just a go route, or guys making plays in one-on-one situations?
Sharon over the middle, incomplete. As Luke Leeper can't hold on.
And that's the last play, and that's one where you hope he's okay. And, you know, even though you have a minute 8, Coach Stoops had his mind set on 75 total plays, and that's what it was. And you see even a deep end there. That would have been about 14 to 15 yards. But, you know, pretty good showing by both groups, some flashes by all units.
The weather wasn't ideal, but overall it was a well-played game. And a lot of the things that the coaching staff told us they wanted to see, we saw it today. The Kentucky spring game is in the books for 2022. We'll put a bow on this when we come back from Kroger Field. Now just under 75 plays here at the Kentucky Spring Game 2022. The starters shine today, and some of the backups perhaps emerging into better and bigger roles. After the performance today, they'll wrap things up with a couple of more practices. And then the next time you'll see this Kentucky team will be in the fall. And you go look at that schedule. Right off the bat, a trip to Gainesville after coming off a big win at home against the Gators last season, which really set the tone for another 10-win campaign. At Ole Miss, that'll be a big one for Kentucky, at Tennessee, and at Missouri. But 8 home games, Stu, so they get to enjoy the friendly confines more than usual.
Yeah, more than usual. And I think when you look at that schedule, that's one that, I don't want to call it favorable, but it definitely falls in the right spots for you. And so right off the bat, like you said, you play Florida that has a new coaching staff, Coach Billy Napier down there, and you'll get an opportunity to see really how good you are. So Will Levis and his guys will have their work cut out for them, but Coach Stoops has them in great position.
Stu, it's been a pleasure working with you for the first time.
I've enjoyed it as well.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for us. We started with snow. We actually ended with a little bit of sunshine. For Deuce McAllister, Lauren Sisler, and our entire production crew, Mike Morgan saying so long, Wildcat fans. We'll see you in September when the Wildcats take on Miami of Ohio.